And in today's episode, among other things, you'll see the first humanoid robot arrested for bothering a lady, and another one had to be restrained by 3 humans in a restaurant after malfunctioning and starting to throw cutlery. But not everything is a malfunction in the world of robots, okay? Some are practicing tennis, and others can even read our thoughts and detect our mistakes before we do. Let's try to understand this, friends. Hello, impressed ladies and gentlemen. I'm Carlos Alves, and you're watching Incredible Reality. And before anything else, let me tell you some news that I believe will really add a lot for you. Do you remember Aria, the artificial intelligence that I've been announcing here on the channel for quite some time? Well, now the folks at Genesis have released 15 days of free trials, okay? You don't need to use a credit card or any other payment method to register. It's really simple. Just access the link in the description in the pinned comment, or right here on the QR code on your screen. You go straight to the registration and you can use it for half a month. Did you hear that? Half a month with full access to our intelligence. Do you know why they gave this 15-day free access that no one else offers? Because they trust the product they have. They know that once you try it, you'll want to use it indefinitely. And I want to remind you that with Aria, you have access to the best artificial intelligences on the market. Generative pre-trained transformer Dimnight, Gypsy, and many others. Go check the pinned comment and see all the AIs available for you. And it's completely free for 15 days. Only those using my coupon get this. My link is in the description. This is a Realidade Impressionante achievement, so please support us as I always support you. Help me and I'll help you. Yeah, it might seem strange at first, but what you're about to see now is the new aircraft called the R66 Turbonet truck. That one is basically a helicopter without a cabin and without any pilot in it. And it was developed by Robson in partnership with the Cycle Sky sector. This machine represents a radical change in the way we think about air transport, because instead of carrying people, it was designed to export, exclusively to transport cargo. And by completely eliminating the crew space, the engineers achieved more usable space, less weight, and more efficiency. Instead of a traditional cockpit, the R66 has clamshell doors at the front. And that's where the cargo is stored. Meanwhile, control of the aircraft is handled by an autonomy system called Matrix, developed by Cycle Sky. In other words, this helicopter can operate without a human pilot on board. But this idea didn't come out of nowhere. The concept had already been tested in a larger version, based on the famous Black Hawk military helicopter. In this model called U-Hawk, the cockpit was also removed and replaced by a fully autonomous system. But in that case, it's meant to carry weapons, right? The difference is that the R66 brings this technology to a much more accessible level. It's smaller, lighter, and much cheaper. Equipped with a Rolls-Royce 300 turboshaft engine, the R66 helicopter has a maximum weight of about 1,300 kg, and it can carry up to 444 kg of cargo. Its cruising speed is around 220 km/h, with an endurance of approximately 4 hours of flight. Yeah, and completely removing the human pilot from an aircraft already seems like a pretty bold step. This idea of autonomy isn't just staying in the skies, my friend. It's already starting to transform what's happening down here on Earth. A company called OXA, specialized in autonomous driving technology, has just received an investment of over $100 million to focus on automating repetitive tasks within industrial environments. And we're talking about vehicles that operate inside factories, logistics centers, and private areas, transporting cargo, towing equipment, and monitoring spaces without the need for a human driver nearby. At the core of this technology is a system called OXA Driver, a software capable of fully controlling the vehicle, from perceiving the environment to making decisions and controlling movement. And unlike some traditional solutions, it can be adapted to different types of vehicles. According to the company, the system can already be implemented in more than 20 different categories, from small logistics vehicles to larger machines used in industrial operations. But what really sets this technology apart is the way it is trained. OXA uses artificial intelligence-based tools to create digital twins of real environments, meaning virtual versions of factories and logistics centers. These simulated environments allow the system to learn how to operate even before being deployed in the real world. In addition, the company offers a platform called OXA Hub. This is a cloud-based system that allows you to manage entire fleets of autonomous vehicles using real-time monitoring, task planning, and even remote assistance. In practice, this means that an entire operation can now be coordinated digitally without the need for human drivers in each vehicle. Although the main focus is the industrial environment, the technology has also started to appear on the streets. In 2025, for example, the company implemented an autonomous public transportation service in Northern Ireland. They are small electric buses that are circulating independently, connected to strategic points in the city. While the vehicles now operate autonomously in controlled settings, a much bigger challenge is emerging. What will happen when these machines actually start sharing space with us human beings? Well, now we're going to get a preview of that answer. Pay close attention. Imagine walking peacefully at night, looking at your phone or maybe looking at the stars and suddenly realizing that there's something standing right behind you. Now imagine that this something isn't a person, isn't a human being. It's a humanoid robot. That's exactly what happened to a 70-year-old woman in Macau, China. The incident happened around 9 p.m. in a residential complex. While she was walking distracted, the woman ended up bumping into a Unitree G1 robot. When she realized there was a machine standing right behind her, her reaction was immediate. She, frightened, shouted at the robot, "You're making my heart race!" The scene caught the attention of people around, and it quickly turned into a video that went viral on social media. But what happened there wasn't exactly a chase in the style of the Terminator. According to those responsible for the robot, it was just standing still, trying to go on its way while the woman stopped to look at her phone and the robot also stopped. And since it couldn't get around her, it ended up standing right behind her. And that was enough to give this woman a huge scare. After the incident, the police were called to the scene. And in a scene that looks like something out of a science fiction movie, the robot was literally escorted by police officers. One of the officers even put his hand on the robot's shoulder, as if he were dealing with a real person. The woman was taken to the hospital for a medical evaluation. Despite the scare, she decided not to file a complaint. The robot, in turn, was returned to its owner, an educational center that used the machine for promotional activities. Despite being comical, this episode raised an important discussion. With the advancement of robotics, humanoids are now starting to appear more and more in public spaces. In China, for example, this is already an increasing reality. Some robots have even been seen patrolling tourist areas, while others are helping to organize traffic in cities like Shanghai. And this raises an inevitable question. What happens when machines and human beings start sharing the same spaces in daily life? Because unlike an app or a digital system, the robot occupies the same physical space as we do. It moves, it reacts, and sometimes it can simply be in the wrong place at the wrong time, turning an ordinary encounter into a completely unexpected experience. And if that encounter was already strange enough, in some cases, the situation can be completely out of control. Let's see if there are other cases here that are closely related. In a restaurant in California, a humanoid robot that was part of a presentation started moving in an increasingly uncontrolled way. It knocked over utensils, broke plates, and scattered objects all over the place. In a video that also quickly went viral on social media, you can see the robot throwing cutlery and chopsticks while it keeps moving non-stop. And the most curious detail, it was wearing a sign that said the following, "I'm fine."
Isso aí deixou a situação.
Even more ironically, restaurant employees tried to intervene. One of the employees even held the robot from behind while trying to find some kind of control on her phone. But it wasn't enough. It took 3 employees to manage to restrain the machine. And even then, they had to constantly duck to avoid being hit by the robot's movements. An incident happened during a promotional event related to the movie Isotopia 2. And even though the whole scene seemed kind of comical, it raised an important question. Why wasn't there even a physical emergency shutdown button on that machine? Many internet users point out this detail as a serious problem. After all, relying on an app to stop a machine in a situation like that might not be the best solution. And while some treat the episode as something funny, others made more worrying comparisons. One user commented that this kind of situation is reminiscent of the beginning of stories like The Terminator. Of course, not with explosions, but with small events getting out of control. And this leads us to a very interesting reflection. As robots begin to occupy public spaces, interact with us humans, and perform tasks in the real world, small failures stop being just technical errors. They now become visible, unpredictable, and sometimes even dangerous events. But not everything in the advancement of robotics involves failures or critical moments, okay? In many cases, the level of precision of these machines really starts to impress us. Yeah, as I already mentioned, not everything is a failure in the world of robots. While some videos show the machines losing control, others reveal something completely different. a level of precision that really starts to impress us. Researchers have recently demonstrated a humanoid robot capable of playing tennis in real time with a human being. And we're not talking about simple movement, okay? The robot can react to the balls at speed, can position itself on the court, and can return shots with a certain consistency. The demonstration was carried out using a system called Latente, which is developed in collaboration between Galbot Robotics and researchers from Csikszentmihalyi and Beijing universities. The system was installed on the Unitree G1 humanoid robot, the same one that startled the woman in the previous report, and the results attracted much attention. In simulation tests, the robot achieved up to 96% accuracy in right-hand punches. But the most impressive thing is not just the number, it's the challenge behind it. Tennis is one of the most difficult sports for a robot. The balls can reach speeds of up to 30 meters per second. The contact time between the racket and the ball lasts only a few milliseconds, and the player needs to constantly move across large areas. With that in mind, the researchers took a different approach. Instead of trying to capture complete matches, they broke the learning down into small movement fragments: forehand strokes, backhand strokes, changes of direction. And this data was collected in a smaller space and then combined to form much more complex sequences. It's as if the robot is learning individual pieces before assembling the complete puzzle. In addition, the training was carried out in simulation environments, where variables such as weight, friction, and aerodynamics were constantly changed. This helped the system adapt much better to real-world conditions. And the end result was a robot capable of continuously and dynamically rallying with a human. Yeah, I know it wasn't like a professional player and all, but between us, it was pretty impressive, wasn't it? The researchers say that this approach can be applied to other sports, soccer, badminton, and many others, and even tasks outside of sports, where capturing complete data on human movements is really difficult. And behind this precision, there's something even more advanced being developed. These are systems that not only perform the movements, but also start to react to the human brain itself. Not mine. I hope it's yours, huh? If you don't leave a like, it's going to react to your brain. Researchers at Oklahoma State University in the United States are developing a system that allows robots to read human brain signals in real time. And no, I'm talking about conscious thoughts, at least for now. But don't relax just yet, it's about something even faster. A type of signal called the error-related response potential, an electrical pattern that your brain and mind generate at the exact moment we notice a mistake. And this happens even before we move our hand or take any action. In other words, our brain detects the problem first. And now robots can detect this too. The system works through a brain-computer interface. The operator uses a helmet with electroencephalogram sensors that capture these brain signals in real time. As soon as an error is identified, the robot can react immediately. It slows down, stops, or even gives control back to the human. All of this happens in a matter of milliseconds, okay? According to the researchers, this solves one of the biggest limitations of current systems. Nowadays, a robot only realizes something is wrong when it's already too late. In other words, when it hits an object or performs an incorrect action. But with this new approach, the error can be anticipated before it happens. And that makes all the difference in a high-risk environment. For example, operations in nuclear facilities, deep-sea exploration, or any scenario where a failure can have very serious consequences. Another important challenge was making the system adaptable. After all, every human brain is unique. Each one is different from the other. To solve this, the researchers created a model that learns general patterns and then automatically adjusts for each user. This happens without the need for long calibration processes, but perhaps the most interesting application is outside the industry, in the healthcare field. Imagine a prosthesis that realizes you're making a wrong movement and automatically adjusts itself. Or an exoskeleton that responds to your instinct even before you can react. Deep down, this technology points to something much bigger, an increasingly direct interaction between humans and machines, where it's not just commands that control the robots, but signals from the brain itself. And when this integration between human and machine leaves the lab, it can be applied exactly where the risk is greatest. Take a look at this report here. Hyundai recently introduced an unmanned robot that fights fires and was designed to go exactly where humans can't. Kia, Hyundai Houghton, and Hyundai Motor jointly developed the machine, which has been delivered to the National Fire Agency. Their goal is clear: reduce risk for lifesavers. And this robot is capable of identifying the source of the fire, assessing the situation, and approaching the flames directly to fight them. All of this without putting a human firefighter in danger. But what really impresses are its capabilities. The system was built on a platform originally developed for the military called HR Sherpa, and it was adapted to operate in extreme environments. The robot can withstand temperatures of up to 800 degrees, thanks to a water spray cooling system and a special thermal insulation structure. In addition, it features cameras equipped with artificial intelligence and advanced thermal sensors. This allows the human operator to see through smoke, identify heat sources, and navigate even in conditions that are practically invisible to us humans. The robot also carries a high-pressure hose with photoluminescent elements that glow in the dark. This makes it much easier to identify entry and exit routes in dangerous environments. Its mobility is also impressive. With 6 independent wheels, each with its own motor, it can perform precise movements and even rotate 360 degrees in tight spaces. It can also overcome obstacles and move quickly through the environment. But perhaps the most interesting point is something else. This robot is not just for putting out fires. It can also collect data, analyze environments, and learn from each operation. According to the developers, it represents an important step in the concept of physical artificial intelligence. AI will be acting directly in the real world in critical situations, and the future plan goes even further, okay? To create fully autonomous systems, capable of assessing fires, defining strategies, and acting without any human intervention. Deep down, this and other technologies raise an important reflection. Until recently, machines were only used to make tasks easier. Now, they're starting to take on risks instead of us human beings. And maybe this is one of the clearest paths of technical evolution. Not only making our lives easier, but safer. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and check your subscription. Thanks for staying with me. Pick a suggestion on your screen and I'll see you next time. Deal? Bye-bye. See you soon.